What up, YouTube? I wanted to make a quick video about Inoue versus Tápales. I have some thoughts, and the reason I look all nasty is because I finished my own training session. If you don't believe me, all of the equipment's back there. I just finished up some cleans and some. It was a clean focus day, so it was cleans, clean pulls, and a bunch of other shit. So if you want to watch me lift, I'll upload that later. But I wanted to get my thoughts out for Inoue and Tápales first. I didn't wake up at 5 in the morning to catch it. I was going to, but I slept in and decided to watch the ESPN replay. So let's break down what we saw. I could argue this is Inoue's second hardest fight after Donaire Part 1. Not as hard as Donaire Part 1. I know in Donaire Part 1 his eye got fractured, so it was a big difference. But I think Tápales did surprise a lot of people. I think he did a lot better than people expected because Tápales' style is not that complex. Because Tápales is a come-forward pressure fighter. Something that I think you do need to do in order to beat Inoue, I do think that Tápales had the right style to do it, but he had limited skill set to completely pull it off. And to put it forward, to put it kind of bluntly, I just think Inoue's skill plus his power is what had him ahead. Because those first couple of rounds, it was pretty easy for Inoue. He was just picking off, and the main reason for that was the high guard that Tápales came in rushing. Well, not really rushing with, but he was kind of blinding himself with the high guard viz. And when he came in, Inoue just had a field day because he could throw whatever the hell he wanted in order to counter him. Now, that being said, Tápales did manage to adjust after getting dropped in round 4. So round 4 comes around, Inoue just ends up popping him really easily. And it doesn't look like it's a hard shot, but I think he ran into it a little bit, and then Tápales is on the floor. But he wasn't really too hurt because Inoue didn't finish him in round 4. Rather, round 5, Tápales comes back and he looks even better than he did in the first 4 rounds. And the main adjustment was his guard. Instead of having the both earmuffs up, what had happened was that Tápales ends up putting one of his hands down and having his hand up to defend from Inoue's right. Now, it worked for somewhat because Tápales had the right, again, style for the job. You know, the great saying that if you're fighting a real strong, come forward, powerful guy, why don't you push him back? So Tápales kind of tried that in round 5, and it kind of worked. And I say kind of because he gave Inoue some decent counter shots, and he was really, really tagging him to the body. How effective they were is a different story. They were meh, but it made Tápales win a couple rounds in my book. I think round 5 was definitely one of them. Round 7, it was kind of competitive. And even 6 was pretty competitive because the main big change was the guard and Tápales being able to slip on the inside. Now, credit to Inoue for being a great fighter, even if he's being pushed back, because he made an adjustment on his own and decided, well, shit, I'm not going to brawl with this guy. I'm going to stay on the back foot and counter. And that's exactly what happened leading up to the 10th round, where Tápales came in rushing, and then, boom, nice counter right on the temple. So if you're looking at it directly at the fight, you're like, what the fuck hit him? It was really just the counter on the temple, and that really just destroyed his balance and equilibrium, and it was out of it. I say this was Inoue's toughest fight because Tápales came in front forward heavy. I think that's the way you beat him. If you're gonna have to beat anybody, it's by pressuring him and try to smother his power, not let him get ahead or not let him get spacing. Now, where Tápales lagged is that if you look at the fight, it was mainly their foot battle, lefty versus righty. But Tápales kept having his foot on the inside of Inoue's foot. So basically, he was losing that front foot battle. I'm surprised I didn't have Tim Bradley on the call, but because he normally points that shit out, and his battle, the front foot battle was being lost. So because he lost that, he really limited himself. He wasn't skilled enough to keep Tápales wasn't skilled enough to keep his foot on the outside of Inoue's foot to have a better lineup for his left hand or his right hand. So that really limited him. So what's next? Well, rumor has it he's going to face NERRY. Now, what do I think about that? Like I just mentioned, the way to beat Inoue is by pressuring him, I think at least. But that comes with a caveat. Can you take Inoue's power? And it's kind of I don't know if NERRY could do that. And the reason I say that is because if you look at NERRY, he's pretty chinny. Hovhannissian was doing pretty decent against NERRY. He even stunned him a couple times. They didn't drop him, but he did stun him. And Hovhannissian isn't really, I mean, he was ranked number 2, I think, when they fought for the WBC Eliminator. But Hovhannissian just throws a shit ton of punches. So it was kind of a style matchup. Although NERRY did knock him out, but Hovhannissian did kind of mess him up. Brandon Figueroa did knock out NERRY. But then again, I think Figueroa was a cutting to 122 and really a 126-pounder, even a 130-pounder fighter. That said, what can Luis do against Inoue? Well, pressure. Now, what he does well is pressure, and I think that's his whole style. He has a decent jab, but he's kind of a lazy fighter, misses weight. I can see Inoue knock him out pretty easy, or I think it could either go one of two ways. One, NERRY actually preps well and prepares well, and he's a front-forward fighter, and he smothers Inoue, and he can have a chance of winning, but I do think that Inoue is smart enough to move back and create space and create countering opportunities and clipping him, and he still gets knocked out, and it's an exciting fight. Or NERRY doesn't take it seriously, he just wants a paycheck, and he comes in and gets knocked the fuck out within like the first 2 rounds. I don't know, because I don't know how prepared he'll be. If he's prepared, it's gonna be a hell of a fight. If he's not, it's gonna be like a 2-rounder. And that's just because of styles. I think stylistically, Inoue is still better than him, but it's the next fight they're saying, and after that, it's probably gonna be MJ, which I won't talk about because it's pretty much confirmed it's gonna be Luis. Now, fun fact about that fight has to be in the United States, and you might be wondering why. So Luis NERRY fought this Japanese dude a couple fights ago. He rematched him twice in Japan. The first time he popped for performance enhancement drugs, and he failed. So that's what pop means, right? And they caught him. And the second time, he missed weight in Japan, and the drug he was taking was for weight cutting, basically to make weight easy. And then the second time, he failed to make weight. So basically telling you he was using that drug, that PED. So he can't. He's been banned since from Japan, from my understanding. Like Steve Kim and a couple others reported on that. So if Inoue is dead set on defending against the WBC mandatory, because he would be a mandatory in Luis NERRY, he has to fight him in the U.S. or in like some country, Mexico maybe. I don't know. I don't think they could do it in Japan unless Inoue gets an exception for him. Anyways, that's the quick thoughts I had. Nothing too crazy. I don't have anything else to say, so subscribe to the channel and peace.